My name's Travis Monroe. I'm a single dad. Not by choice, not by tragedy, just life being life. My ex walked out when my daughter Emily was 2, said she wasn't built for small town boredom. I guess she wanted city lights. I wanted bedtime stories and breakfast pancakes. I work 3 jobs just to keep us afloat. Stocking shelves at the grocery store in the mornings, working construction in the afternoons, and driving Uber when I can at night. Most days, I'm running on black coffee fumes and the sound of my daughter's laughter. That's enough fuel for me. That Saturday morning wasn't supposed to be anything special. Emily and I had just finished at the laundromat. She sat in the back seat, humming some Taylor Swift song with jelly on her chin from the peanut butter sandwich I made earlier. We were driving home when I spotted the car. An old baby blue Cadillac with the hood up, parked half off the road, and standing next to it, an elderly man with a cane in one hand and a phone in the other, looking frustrated. Now, I don't know why I stopped. Maybe it was the look on his face. Maybe it was the way my own dad used to pull over for every stranger back when I was a kid. I told Emily, "Just 5 minutes, sweetie," and pulled over. The man turned as I stepped out, mid-70s maybe, neatly dressed, expensive-looking watch. But there was something off in his eyes, not fear, not anger, more like loneliness. "You all right, sir?" I asked. He sighed. "Can't get her started, and roadside assistance says it'll take 2 hours." I peered under the hood. "Mind if I take a look?" He smiled faintly. "Be my guest. Though unless you've got a miracle in that toolbox of yours, I think she's done for." I don't know about miracles, but I do know how to get an old engine breathing again. Took me about 15 minutes. Loose battery terminal, a cracked hose, and a cooling fan relay that needed a little persuasion with a screwdriver and a solid tap. She roared back to life. The old man just stood there, looking stunned. "You're either a genius or an angel," he said. I wiped my hands on my jeans. "Neither. Just a dad who's gotten good at fixing stuff that breaks." Then Emily stepped out of the car, her pink sneakers tapping on the gravel. She offered him a half-eaten granola bar. "You hungry, mister?" He laughed. Genuinely. "No thank you, darling. But that's mighty kind of you." We talked for a few minutes. He introduced himself as Mr. Harold Bennett. Said he was just passing through town, had a funeral to attend but got sidetracked on the way. I didn't pry. I just told him we were glad to help and started gathering my tools. Then, he said something strange. "You know, when you stopped, I didn't expect much. I've been invisible for a long time now. Most people just pass me by." I shrugged. "You looked like you could use a hand." He nodded. "And you gave it. Without asking for anything. That's rare these days." We shook hands, and I didn't think much of it. Just another Saturday. Until Monday. I came home from my afternoon shift, dusty and exhausted, only to find a sleek black car parked in front of our tiny duplex. A man in a suit stepped out and walked toward me. "You Mr. Travis Monroe?" "Yeah, who's asking?" He handed me an envelope and said, "From Mr. Bennett." I froze. "Harold?" The man smiled. "Harold Bennett, sir. CEO of Bennett Automotive. One of the largest privately owned car empires in the country." I blinked. He nodded toward the envelope. "He said you might not take money directly, but he insists you open this." I did. Inside was a handwritten note. "Tor, you reminded me what decency looks like. People like you shouldn't struggle to survive. They should thrive. Let me help make that possible. Tucked inside the note was a check. 6 figures, more than I'd made in 5 years, maybe 10. And in that moment, I just sat down, right there on the curb. My knees gave out and my throat tightened. Emily ran out, holding a crayon drawing in one hand, shouting, "Daddy, I made you something." I hugged her so tight she squeaked. 2. I didn't sleep that night. The check was sitting on the kitchen table, staring at me like it knew all my secrets. Like it had been watching me stretch $20 bills into groceries, patch up shoes with glue, and quietly cry in the shower when Emily fell asleep. But 6 figures, that wasn't just money. That was oxygen, freedom, a second chance. I kept asking myself, why me? Why would a billionaire give that kind of money to a stranger who turned a wrench on the side of the road? The next morning, I did something crazy. I tore up the check. Yeah, you read that right? Because something inside me said this wasn't over. I didn't want a handout. I didn't want to be someone's good deed of the week. I needed answers. So I called the number on the back of that envelope. It routed me to a corporate office in New York. The woman who answered was polite, polished, and didn't seem the least bit surprised when I said, "Tell Mr. Bennett Travis wants to see him." 2 days later, I was on a plane. First class ticket, paid in full. They even sent a nanny to fly with Emily. The Bennett building looked like something out of a movie. Glass, steel, marble floors, everyone in suits. Me. I wore the best button-up shirt I owned, with a little paint stain on the sleeve I didn't catch in time. They led me into a massive office, bookshelves, a fireplace, old jazz playing softly from somewhere, and there he was, Mr. Harold Bennett. Same soft eyes, same steady cane, but this time, he looked 10 years younger. "Travis," he said, smiling, "come sit." I didn't waste time. "Sir, I appreciate the gesture. I really do. But I didn't fix your car expecting anything in return." He nodded. "And that's exactly why you deserve something." I shook my head. "But money won't change who I am. I'm just trying to be a good dad. That's it." He leaned forward. "Do you know what I saw that day, Travis? I saw a man who chose kindness over convenience. Who stopped his life for someone he didn't know, just because it was the right thing to do. And let me tell you something. That's the kind of man I built this company hoping to find someday." I was confused. "What do you mean?" He reached into a drawer and pulled out a small folder, opened it, slid it across the desk. Inside was a job offer, not just any job. Facilities manager for the entire Bennett Corporation West Coast operations. Better salary than anything I'd ever dreamed, full benefits, housing relocation, a built-in daycare system for single parents. I was speechless. "I don't need another executive," he said quietly. "I need people who remember where they came from. People who don't treat others like tools or numbers. I need you." I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. I just sat there shaking my head, whispering, "Is this real?" He chuckled. "Real as that little girl of yours who gave me a half-eaten granola bar. That's the kind of wealth this world needs more of." A fast, forward 6 months. Emily runs through our new backyard now. We've got grass, real grass, and a tiny red bike with glitter handles that I never thought I'd be able to afford. I tuck her in every night with a full belly and a heart that finally, isn't weighed down by fear. I still wear boots, still keep a wrench in my car. Because some habits you don't break, some roots run deep. And every so often, I get a call from Mr. Bennett, sometimes just to talk, sometimes to share a memory of his late wife, sometimes to ask if I can recommend someone else who deserves a shot at something bigger. He says I reminded him of himself before the billions, back when he was just a young mechanic with oil on his shirt and a dream in his chest. 2. I didn't fix his car that day to change my life, but maybe, just maybe, one act of kindness is all it takes. 2. Sometimes the most powerful moments in life happen when no one's watching. He didn't do it for money. He didn't do it for praise. He just did the right thing, because that's who he is. And life saw that, and gave back in a way he never expected. Because kindness always finds its way back home. And maybe that's all it ever takes. One moment of kindness. One decision to stop, to care, to help, even when no one's watching. He didn't know who that old man was. He just knew what the right thing looked like. And life has a way of returning what you give, multiplied in ways you never imagined. So if this story touched your heart, tell us what you felt. Was it hope? Was it warmth? Did it remind you of something or someone? Comment below and let it out. Don't hold back. We read every word, because sometimes your words can become someone else's reason to keep going.